about 7 o'clock. So I guess we'll do the easy one first, which will be the special meeting of the,
It's actually agendized this way, Mr. Chairman.
well, it's agendized as one agenda, okay?
Your first agenda is the one showing adoption of the local control accountability.
Okay, so open, call to order, welcome to the guests, Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. McDowell.
Dr. McDowell.
That's right. Sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, that's okay. So we need a motion here someplace. Or what order are we doing this? I'm trying to figure this out.
You need a motion for 6.2.
That is true. Somebody make that motion.
Motion to move all three.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good. Then 7.11, and we're adjourning. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So then we reopen the meeting as the quarterly construction update.
Correct.
We don't need to do any of that other stuff, and I guess we'll call on
Like,
Mr. Slagle.
Thank you, President Lee. Good evening, esteemed board members, the thousands of Torrance residents at home viewing,
Yes.
District
There could be.
Cabinet, member of the audience. As always, it's a pleasure and an honor to lead the design and construction team update for you. In attendance tonight, we have Angel Hosband from HMC and Don Rondeau from Balfour Beatty to provide you an update in regards to what's happening at the tail end of our YZT&U program. If you would, Mr. Rondeau.
So these are a handful of projects. We're now taking some of the leftover funds and going back to some of the schools and doing some things that we couldn't do in the beginning. These are all getting started this week. Probably the most challenging project we've got is the Anza site drainage project. It's school-wide drainage that's going to stop the flooding issues in some of the classrooms, but it's a very aggressive project that touches almost all parts of the campus, and we're just getting started on it today. Does anybody have any questions about these?
I would like to chime in on the Anza project, just to let the board know that Ms. Marks did send out an email to all of her parents. She included it. She and I worked on the message to not just her parents, also neighbors in the close vicinity of the school, that she was going to just deliver letters to, notifying them about the work happening and about the short timeline. And we know that we've had some issues there in the past where people have asked questions and so forth, and so claim they didn't know what's going on. So we wanted to make sure that we corrected any of that, and she e-blasted it out. She said she has information on her website. It was part of her end of the year principal's newsletter to parents, and then also notifying the neighbors.
Great.
Question?
Yes.
So I'm assuming that we're going to have this project completed before school starts?
Yes.
Okay, that's a goal, right? Okay.
It is.
Reasonable goal?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we'll be there sweeping up after the landscapers the day teachers get there, but
Okay.
it'll be safe and clean for the kids.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Slagle.
Thank you. Yeah, the one from Measure T is a South High gym. We're replacing the floors in there. That's the whole scope, right? Yes.
Wall pads, paint.
Yeah, so that began work today as well.
lighting.
And the lighting, yes.
That's for
Thank you, Mr. Rondeau. I'm sure Mr. Kempton, who's also in the audience representing M&O, can speak to additional summer projects. Just to bring you up to speed.
Yeah, we do have some other projects that we're going to be working on as well that is coming out of some of the surplus. At North High School, we're refinishing the gym floor. That's a project that we're doing there. In addition, we have some lighting projects that we're working on at Arlington for the teachers' parking lot, as well as Anza. We're working on that. Lots of other little projects going around the district, but those are pretty much the main ones that would be concerning the bond.
How's the paving at West High's parking lot? Who's in charge of that?
These guys.
That'd be me, and that is a slurry and repair job that will happen this summer. I don't remember the exact schedule, but it's about a 2-week project.
So it's not a full repave, it's just a
No.
slurry and fix?
Correct.
Are we gonna be happy with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh, he looked at Dr. Mann before he said that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something more to that story, but we'll leave that for later.
Thank you.
Another quick question. So these are the surplus funds that we approved, right, George, that you
That's
sent,
correct.
these are all the projects that you
That's
mentioned earlier? Okay, I want to just verify that.
And just a reminder, since Mr. Hahn brought that up, and we'll see how early we can bring it to you. We are forecasting a surplus in Measure T funds, so we will be bringing that to you. There may be a small amount of surplus in Z, but not a large amount. You will have no surplus. So we'll bring you those other ones, hopefully in the fall, near Christmas, so we can make some decisions and start planning for that.
There are two others that did not make our list, and that is the slurry and the striping of the playground at Hickory and Adams that were on your approved surplus list. Next up is Angel House Band, HMC.
Those will happen, they're just not on that.
Good evening. So, I guess on the 12th, we had the grand opening for North High School. It was a beautiful event, and I thank Dr. Mannon for his kind words that night. There were a lot of talented students there. I love going to these performances. I can't wait for South High School's grand opening. We're right now just finishing up some punch list items, but it's going to be completed pretty soon, in this month. So, any questions on the auditoriums?
And the grand opening will be in the fall when the kids come back.
Right.
Good.
Middle school gyms. So Magruder and Madrona are in construction right now. The block walls are going up pretty quickly. Magruder is a little bit ahead of Madrona. I believe within a couple weeks, the steel's going to be going up for Magruder. So you can go out there and look at that. Bertlin, is it Bertlin going next, right? In July, and then Calamayor in August.
I think it's
Other way around? Okay. Any questions on the gymnasiums?
Thank you.
All right. Easy peasy.
Mr. Mara, would you care to speak?
Sure. Nothing new in the usage of the technology monies. As far as safety and security, this Wednesday is our kickoff call for the Raptor system. So that's when my team and their team get together and start working out the details for the scheduling and the rollout and the training. And then the shipment of the equipment is actually on its way, so that'll hit the warehouse pretty soon. So we'll get more information to the schools once we get the schedule laid out. And as far as the access control, all done except for South High. DSA requested some more information. So I actually have a conference call tomorrow with Guidepost Solutions, who was the original architect of the design for the system. So myself, Guidepost Solutions, Netronics, which is the sub of NIC, who's been putting in the system, are all on a call tomorrow to see what it is that, DSA has already told us what they want. So Guidepost has to go through the original drawings and continue to design it to their satisfaction. So
One other thing, you and I talked briefly about communication system, or talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, you were asking me about an emergency alert type system, which is a little different from a typical e-blast that we use now that's tied into our student system, where you send flyers or text messages or emails to parents letting them know of events at the school. So something like Titan HST is the one I think we talked about that Redondo uses and a few other districts use that that kind of expand communication a little further than just typical day-to-day information. So its intent is to use it during an emergency, like earthquake, active shooting, or even for a kid that's fallen down, hit his head, and this application runs on a mobile device, and our employees, teachers can have access to this communication piece, and they would be alerted to the things that are going on in the district. So it's quite a large system.
We cannot require.
We cannot, right.
Yes.
Can't require it, right. So it's one of those things that I can explore if you like me to, and there are more than just that system. There are quite a few other that do this type of communication that's been in place, and these companies, they see a need, whether it's kind of elevated because of everything that's going on, maybe because of what's happening in the media, or the headlines. So they see this need that we want to help you as a district reunite your families in the event of emergency. Find where emergencies are happening. This particular one allows you to, let's say there is an incident happening at a school, that the person can use their video camera on the phone and give situational awareness to emergency responders right at the moment, tracks their GPS, know where they are in case they're inside of a crumbled building, and they can locate and spot the phone. So there's a lot of capability. But we would have to really look at how that plays into our current existing system, so that there's some overlap, and that way the community, we're talking about communication, doesn't get confused versus, is this an emergency? Is this just a regular SWIFT?
Yeah, it's like the Torrance alert thing, that I get something because a cat's climbed up a tree or something.
Right, and how does this system, if we start looking at it, where does that fall within our
Okay, I mean,
system?
the other school board presidents were bragging about theirs, and I went, I haven't heard of
You want
this
something to
one,
brag
so-
about? We can brag about looking at it.
Yeah, so whatever it was, but I just thought I'd bring it up. It seemed intriguing. It's good. Thank you, Miguel.
Okay.
That is all there to report. Any additional questions?
Mr. Lee, one comment for our new members, and also for those thousands of Torrance residents that Mr. Schlegel always talks about at this meeting who are watching. This is our last quarterly construction update. We've been doing these for 9 years. They have certainly worked because it provided a lot of information. But as you can see, the agenda is very small now because of the number of projects that will be involved with, and as those projects roll out, it will be even smaller. So we actually can do an update which we'll kind of schedule out, but it'll be at a regular board meeting. So it'll be on the regular agenda rather than having a special meeting. But as you know, the agenda, as we started, the agenda for these meetings was actually quite long because of the number of projects that we were taking on in the beginning, and would have, 5, 6, at one time, 9 schools at once that would be discussed at these meetings. So this is our last one, and I know that Tom is really upset that this is, after 9 years, he doesn't have to do this anymore.
And Mr. Rondo and Angel.
That's right.
They've been around here for most of it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
So, okay, that doesn't leave much more. Any orals? Good. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We be done.